Hey, good morning, everyone.
So,
That's funny though.
Hey, good morning, everyone. All right, we'll call this meeting to order. It is 9 a.m. Eastern Time. It's the 13th of March, and this is the Scott County Fiscal Court business meeting. And I would like to ask everyone to, just as a reminder, to use your button for your microphone when you speak, and when I'm on this side, you can, it becomes evident how much those microphones are important for the stream. So if you do that for me, and then before we get going with the agenda, I'd like to ask someone to lead us in the pledge. Mr. Wallace, would you lead us in the pledge?
Let's pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Much appreciated. Ms. Hamilton, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Hostetler?
Present.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Wallace?
Here.
Mr. Foreman?
Present.
Mr. Ellison?
Here.
Mr. Pratt?
Here.
Mr. Livingston?
Here.
Mr. Culbertson? Here. Judge Cunningham?
Present. With that said, then we do have a quorum. Let the record reflect that we can conduct business, and we will proceed. I will say that if there's any request for any public comment, we can do that during new business. If you all would assist me with that, if anyone wants to do public comment, we can do that during new business. First item is our minutes from our two previous meetings, 226 and 36. I believe we can address these with one motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Bills and hand checks. Any questions regarding those as presented?
No questions. Motion.
Second.
Motion?
Second.
Did we second? With that said, any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item would be sheriff's fees in the amount of $294,899.58. Were submitted on behalf of Sheriff Jeremy Nettles. And then clerk fees in the amount of $200,537.69 were submitted on behalf of County Clerk Rebecca Johnson. Let the record reflect that. Stacy, do I need to go back up because I did not mention that jail fund? Was there a transfer? It's on my agenda, but I did not mention that.
No, you must not have the updated one. No transfers.
No transfers. Okay. Thank you. We did add a few things and take off a couple things. Next item would be clerk final settlement. And Ms. Hamilton, what needs to be recorded as part of the record for that?
Stacy's handed me this document, just the total revenues generated, $28,142,233.83, and total expenditures are that same amount. That just needs to be noted in the minutes.
So let the record reflect that. Next item would be number 8. Mr. Culbertson, would you share your proposal in regards to 2 summer interns?
Yes, sir. I sent an email on this. We've had multiple folks reach out about summer internships. We've got a couple we're wanting to bring on. My guess is several of you may know Riley Markham. She's from Georgetown. She's in her second year at UK Law. Particularly, she's interested in family law, and so I'd like to bring her on 4 days a week in the summer, and she'll focus mainly on helping Vinnie Morris with family law and dependency, neglect, abuse stuff, and child support, and that type of thing. I wanted to go ahead and get this on the agenda because she has some interest in starting like maybe 1 day a week the rest of the semester. And then the other young lady is Natalia Esteva. She is a junior at Georgetown College. Josh Bedson with the Sheriff's Office has had her in class. He teaches criminal justice class. I think he's had her 2 or 3 times. Very impressed with her as a student. Interested in bringing her on. She would start probably in May or sometime after the end of the year. I've talked with Michelle. I think it's within our budget. I think we pay him $12 an hour. So just would ask for your approval for those 2 people.
Questions or comments related to that proposal?
I'd make a motion to do it, to hire them both.
I'm second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions or comments?
I think Kelly wanted golf lessons from Riley, too.
Well, that was part of the agreement, I think.
Short game tips.
Yeah.
Short game tips.
That's right.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second, and all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all very much. That will lead us next to fire department hiring proposal. I know Jeff and John Ward are going to lead the way in this conversation, but I will start it off by just saying that the provisional process, I think we have used it just like a tool in our toolbox to assist, and I think it's been very valuable. So I would be in favor of this proposal, but would certainly listen to the pleasure of the court and what way you all want to go. So let's, if Jeff and John could share any other details. We shared this via email, and we'll go forward from there.
Thank you, Judge. Court, basically, currently right now, the last hire, 2 lateral hires we did in January, that one of those was a provisional. We have a member that's on FMLA and is set to retire at the end of this month. So that one provisional will be basically gone. So basically, we're on the papers fully staffed. We do have 4 that's eligible for retirement or near that time frame within this year to be able to retire. Don't know for sure if they're going to retire, but our recommendation would be able to go ahead and start a recruit process and hire 4 recruits. And again, talking about timeline, we're 6 months from once we start the advertisement process till they get out of the 14-week recruit class and on a truck. So that's kind of your time frame, what you're looking at for those members. So basically, you know, if we started a hiring process this month, it would be, what, I was trying to think, was it September?
End of September before they would be able to go on.
Go on the truck.
Go on the truck.
And John, can you speak to, it is not, it's not advisable to do a recruit class less than 4. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, it's just the amount of the logistics to put on this class, you know, bringing in instructors to teach, and even for the recruits themselves, you know, having 1 or 2 recruits in there trying to do this training on their own instead of having, you know, 4, crew of 4 would make that training for them more beneficial, and it would be more beneficial for us in the county as far as the money we're paying for instructors to come in and teach them. So.
And I was talking with Chief Ward yesterday as far as turnover goes. I mean, a typical turnover rate in any department is about 15%. And in the fire department, that would be 8 people. And I went back and looked at how many people have quit since March 1st of 2025, and it was 6. 4 were retirements, 1 took a job at another fire department, and 1 decided to pursue another career. So it wouldn't be unusual to have 4 vacancies in a 6-month period, which is how long the process will take before they're actually able to. So it's a strategic, proactive approach to filling positions, knowing the time commitment we have to put into the training process.
So would it be better to go ahead and put up 6 recruits instead of 4?
I know John, John's not going to say
No,
that.
He's speechless.
yeah, that's great for me. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, let's talk about money. So,
Becomes
That's always been funny.
so you are proposing to pay for these provisionals, some of it in this year's budget, because that would be in June, right? that some of that money?
I think they wouldn't start till July.
It would be real, I have
Yeah.
the timeline here.
Well, the timeline says that the fire academy starts in June.
Like June
Okay.
22nd. It would be
Yes.
1 weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then this would be something that you are committing us to budget for the next budget year, with the 4 provisionals.
Well, I mean, you're right, Chad. That would be something but regardless of when you start the recruit class, you're going to have cost.
I got it. I get the cost. It's just,
Yeah.
is the court willing to commit to those costs going for next year? Because essentially you can absorb you got for this year in this fiscal year, but then going forward, that's what we have to commit
Right.
to. Is that, what, $400,000 additional dollars?
But if
No,
we're losing
I
people-
estimate it'd be
Yeah.
closer to 150,000 because you're
Okay.
looking at just the period that they're in the recruit class. And, you know, one option might be to wait until you have 4 vacancies, which wouldn't be advisable because now you're paying overtime for full
Gotcha.
people
Gotcha.
to be covered. So regardless of when, like I said, regardless of when you start the recruit class, there is going to be, and there always has been historically, has been an additional cost associated with the time that's spent getting them trained, which is why we're trying to get ahead of the game here, ahead of the curve here by going ahead and getting the people on board so that you don't incur that overtime expense.
I just want to make sure that we financially are understanding what our commitment is as far as moving
Yeah.
forward.
Well, you're right. Yeah.
Do we have data for, like, how many firefighters are you fully staffed with?
We're
truck,
authorized
on
for,
apparatus?
17 per shift, so 51, basically, that doesn't count any admin staff, so 51 total, basically 17 per day.
Yeah, so do you have data for how many day shifts over the last year that we haven't had somebody on as the 17th? Like,
Oh, yeah.
but,
Yeah.
I mean,
So
so should we actually have more than 51 is what I'm getting at, right? Like, but I don't know, maybe you don't.
Could I propose something? I believe Mr. Pratt's question is a good question, and I think it's leading towards, do we need to go more than 4, and maybe with what Mr. Jones is proposing as 6? What I would propose is the court consider approving, starting this process with 4 in mind, then gather the data that Mr. Pratt's asking for,
That makes
and we can amend it to possibly hiring 6 at our next meeting. Is that, what do y'all think of that?
Yeah,
Like
but I'd
that,
also
I
like to look at maybe if 51 isn't the right number.
Well, let me.
I know Jeff's about to get nervous, but I just want to look at the data to help
Let me
us.
answer your question. With the 17 people, we already have 1 floater per shift.
Oh, okay.
So I think we're in a good spot, I think. I mean, that doesn't mean that there still couldn't be 2 people missing on a shift, but at least if one person's off on vacation or sick leave, you do already have 1 person that can fill a slot.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
Is that floater there regardless if somebody's out or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So every month I track unscheduled overtime, so, and turn it into the judge on a monthly basis. So basically, an Excel sheet every single day, I'll show what our current authorized staffing is, who's off, like as far as vacancies, whether it be sick time, vacation time, or other time off, such as training or workers' comp, so then I subtract those hours from our authorized, and then, because again, like Jeff said, 16 is our number that we would need to put 3 people on every apparatus, including the shift commander, is what we need each day. And that's what we try to staff it. And, as far as, that's where unscheduled overtime occurs, because if you got people on sick, you got people on vacation, or you got vacancies, or the workers' comp, that means that you're having to hire back that unscheduled overtime to fill that vacancy. But I see where you're going with that, and that's a great point, because, what is, the NFPA is 4 people to a truck. And then that enables you to be able to move, because we don't want to go below 13 or 3 per truck. So if you had that 4th person assigned and somebody's off on at another station, you can take and move that person to that vacant spot at that station. But that's what we're trying to track with the monthly unscheduled overtime reports is, what is that good number to have that would help offset that unscheduled overtime?
And John could, I don't have that right in front of me, and I do appreciate the detail that you go into. If maybe we could share that with the fiscal court next week, just so they have that, like the last 3 months would be a good look, or if you think more, we could certainly do more. But that's a good piece of data to try to answer Ryan's question. And then at the same time, I think Mr. Jones's question, do we need to have more than 4 in a recruit class? I think that would help answer that as well. Any other comments from any court members?
I think a motion's in order, right?
Absolutely, if that is the pleasure of any magistrate.
I'll make that motion and
I'll second.
start with the 4, but in the process, we're gonna have time to,
Oh, yeah, like we advertise.
because you're gonna advertise first. right?
Advertise at least a month to get, be able to get that word out. So we try to keep that open for a month. And then after that closes, then we'll start making phone calls and scheduling for written tests. The written test is our next step in that process. We usually schedule 2 nights for the written test, just in case somebody can't make the one night we schedule. So we try to have at least 2 nights available for people to choose to come in and take the written test. And then once that process, and then, we'll look at how many passed and then pull a number to go and take for oral interviews. So it's kind of our, it's like I said, it's a lengthy process, and that's why we try to get out ahead of it.
Motion would be 4 now, and then we can always talk about that.
So we have a motion and we have a second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next item is road department hires, new hires. Jeff and JR.
Yes, JR and I had the pleasure of conducting an interview this week, and we are pleased to recommend the appointment of Chris Burke as the equipment operator laborer. He'll begin work on Monday, March the 16th, which of course is this coming Monday, and his pay rate will be $20.41 an hour. Comes to us with a lot of skills and a lot of equipment operation, and we're looking forward to him joining the team. The next one is Larry Brandenburg. He'll fill the temporary seasonal position that we approved last year. His pay rate will be $19 an hour, and he'll start later this month. And the department will be fully staffed with all full-time people and the seasonal with this movement. So,
Motion.
Motion?
Second.
Second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
thank you.
Thank you. Leads us down to the second reading for ordinance 2601. This was the unbudgeted receipt from the grant, the NTIA broadband grant that we have to document. So with that said, Mr. Culbertson, would you read that information, please?
Yes, sir. Ordinance number 2601, Scott County Fiscal Court, an ordinance relating to the annual budget and amendment thereof, whereas Scott County, Kentucky has realized unbudgeted receipts, be it ordained by Scott County of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Section 1, current fiscal year 2025-2026. The budget for the current fiscal year is amended to increase/decrease the receipts from the following funds to include unbudgeted receipts from A, federal grants broadband total amended revenues of $827,199.75, and B, appropriation special project broadband $827,199.75. So that's the total amended expenditures. Section 2, the amounts adjusting the receipt and expenditures accounts in Section 1 are for governmental purposes. The first reading was done on February 26th of this year. The second reading today, March 13th of 2026.
Questions or comments, and would there be a motion?
It's a quiet motion from Ricky, yes. Second.
Yeah.
Who had the second?
Second.
I had David.
Or David.
Yeah, thank you, Stacy.
All right. We have a motion, we have a second.
Quiet second.
Yes. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Leads us down to number 12, jail inmate communications. This is an RFP. Jailer Boyles put together, and then Cam has reviewed, and has, this has been shared. Is Jailer Boyles with us this morning?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Hey,
sir.
good morning, Jailer Boyles. How are you?
Good morning, Judge. How are you doing?
Well, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Good morning, magistrates. As I have mentioned in a previous meeting, we've had the same phone company since before I got into the jail. And in the last several years, they have really dropped the ball as far as service, responsiveness. They've actually brought equipment to the jail, installed it, and never came back to finish installing it. And it's a company-wide issue that they're having actually nationwide. This is a nationwide, one of the leading companies in corrections phone systems, but they've just been having a lot of problems. So that has kind of pushed me into wanting to try to bid this out and see if we can get a better company in there, get a better deal, but also get better service and provide better services to the inmates. Just roughly, the RFP would cover about 4 weeks. It would include a mandatory meeting by all interested vendors to come to the jail and do a walkthrough with us. It would include inmate phones, but it would also include, and it would include the phones that we have in visitation for in-person visitation, which is really important. A lot of jails have gone completely away from it because it's a little bit labor intensive and it requires more work, but there's several studies out there that will tell you that more holistic experience for the inmate with family or with friends is much better than just a video visit. We do offer the video visit option as well, but I think keeping the in-person visits are really important. And then also we're dealing with a population that a lot of them tend to be in a lower socioeconomic level than us. And while probably everybody has a smartphone, that would be the only option for some people to be able to do a video visit. And that really, if you think the video visit kind of reduces the experience a little bit for the inmate and the family member, talking to them on a little tiny screen even more reduces that experience. So we do want to keep the in-person visits for family and friends. So it includes the regular phones that are in the cells. It includes the in-person visits. What it adds into the mix for us is it adds a tablet program, and the tablet program would be where each inmate, unless they're on some type of disciplinary restriction, would get a tablet. And the good thing, you might think that is something that they don't need, and they don't need it, but where it would help us out is in the population management of our facility. What it does for us is it gives us another tool in the toolbox that we can work with them on their behavior in the facility. And what it does for them is it offers them educational programs, rehab programs, and entertainment. Depending on how much entertainment I want to let in, they can download music, they can download shows or movies. And me personally, that opening's going to be very narrow, especially starting out, but that would help us out tremendously. Again, going back to the population management, the entertainment, the recreation that these individuals have, we're very limited in our facility. The only rec really that they get is the outside rec, which is limited on days like today, or if it's raining. Sometimes they don't even get the outside rec because of the environmental conditions. The only other option we have is TV. And it's one TV in a cell, sometimes 15, 16, 17 guys. And sometimes that can cause more problems than the problems that it kind of squelches. So the tablet program, a lot of jails have gone to that. Prisons have gone to that. And I think that would be a very positive thing for us to do as well. The other thing that we don't currently have, but that this would include, is a mail scanning service. We started several years ago copying the mail. So every piece of mail that comes into the facility, we actually copy that on the copier and get that to the inmates. So we've got to open it, we've got to copy it, and we've got to deliver it to the inmates. And we have to take the hard copies, the physical mail, and we've got to put that in their property bag in the property room. It's labor intensive. It is costly because we're running copies constantly on our copier down there. And what this would be an offsite. And the reason we went to that copying, I don't think I've mentioned this, the reason we went to the copying is because several years ago there were several jails experiencing where mail was being sent into inmates and it was tainted with something. It had been dipped in something, and they could tear a piece off a letter, put it under their tongue, and get high. So in an effort to keep the inmates as safe as possible, we do not allow them to have the actual mail. Creates a lot of work for us and cost. This mail scanning service would be, and there's companies out there that do this, and almost all the vendors, if not all the vendors, offer this service, which would obviously be included in their proposal. Mail is sent to an off-campus site. It doesn't even come to the jail. It gets sent to them, they scan it in, and then through their account on the tablet or the kiosk that's in their cell, they can bring up their mail and look at it. So there is no handling the mail, which can be dangerous also if it's tainted with something for the staff. It's much quicker, it's much more efficient, and a lot of jails have gone to using services like this, and I think we really should as well. For the safety of the staff, the safety of the inmates, I think that would be a positive thing as well. This does include, I did not mention this, we've got kiosks in the cells right now, and it is a way for the inmates to access information like the inmate handbook, which is the rules that they're supposed to follow. We were supposed to be able to, this is one of the pieces of equipment that Securus that we use currently installed years ago, and we can't get them to come back and provide us the additional features that are on the kiosks. So this proposal also includes getting kiosks in the cells. That would be just replacing the Securus kiosks with the new vendor kiosks. And those kiosks, again, are going to be, as well as the tablets, are going to be a way for the inmate to access their account. It's going to reduce the paper load that we have at the jail because we're going to actually be able to communicate with the inmate electronically. Right now, if they want to see the nurse, they have to fill out a physical piece of paper. They have to get the staff's attention. The staff has to bring them a physical form. They have to fill it out. They have to get the staff's attention again, get that form to the staff, and then the staff has to deliver that wherever it may go. It may be something that comes directly to me. It could go to medical. This is going to alleviate that because the inmate is going to be able to electronically fill this out. They'll still have the paper option if they want to do that, but 99% of them are going to fill this out electronically. Staff will be more responsive to the inmates. We'll be able to get with them more quickly. Our records will be even better than what they are. They'll be electronically managed. And I think that it will improve the efficiency of the jail. So the proposal is to have this RFP out for 30 days, about April 23rd, to close it, go over the proposals with the judge and whoever else wants to go over them, and hopefully be able to start with a new company maybe June. At least as far as getting them in there to start installation. So, David.
What about budget-wise? With moving to a new company, you've got money in the budget, and
this shouldn't cost.
Or would it be shouldn't cost anything?
Shouldn't cost a dime. Okay. Yeah. Obviously, they get revenues by selling phone time, and then this entertainment stuff that's optional. They get revenues from that as well. So it shouldn't cost us a dime.
What about the entertainment aspect of it in restricting what they can watch? How does that work from, like, do they have any rights that you're potentially violating because you say you can't listen to this music, or you can't have a rated R movie, or you can't listen to explicit music? do you know if that's been tested before?
I don't know if it's been tested. I have not heard of any other jails having any problems with restricting or setting their own guidelines for the entertainment.
Okay.
And again, I would want to start out very narrow and just slowly maybe expand it and see how it goes.
You know, like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
That's exactly right, yes. The animated version.
Barney.
Right, right.
Animal
But,
Planet.
well, I was just, yeah, Barney. I was going to ask.
We might have problems with that. That could cause a riot.
Yeah.
That's
Do you have like a sample contract from them that we could look at?
Well, so we don't have a specific vendor
Okay.
picked out yet.
Okay, so it's, okay.
So
gonna
this
do
would,
the RFP.
yeah, this would RFP out all
Okay.
interested parties. I could ask.
So it's not a sole source
No.
vendor? Okay.
No, and honestly, I would not want, what I would also like, and I've put in here, is for them to come and do a demo for us.
Okay.
So that we, a committee of us at the jail, and you guys would be welcome, the judge would be welcome to sit in on that and compare the systems, kind of apples to apples comparison in a demo. So I don't have any particular company in mind that really I would like to go to. I do have a company in mind that I would not like to go to, and we're currently using them. So, Chad.
First of all, let me say, I appreciate you trying to be more efficient. It does, I do see the value in, not having as much manpower, having to deal with, requests and that type of thing, everything being electronic as well as copy in the mail.
Thanks.
My only concern is that with the tablets, and of course, from my school setting, we have IT people that are in place that have to deal with the individual tablets, Chromebooks that all our students have every day, and there's always issues. How are you going to address that with the tablets? The screen's cracked, the buttons aren't working. What is the plan to deal with that? Because I see it every day with our students.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I can completely see that being a headache. First of all, the tablets are detention grade, corrections grade, heavy duty.
Okay.
They're very difficult to break. I won't say they're unbreakable, never say never, but they are very difficult to break. And the other thing is they don't really want to break them because this is a big perk for them to have. And that goes back to it being a population management tool for us. They don't want to lose it. And so that it really gives us a, not an upper hand, but a great leverage. Yeah, thanks, Dwayne. Great leverage, additional leverage. As far as repairs or malfunctions or anything like that, it's built into the RFP that so the company that we would pick would be able to, remote in to the tablets, to the kiosk, and try to diagnose it remotely and try to fix it remotely. If that is not effective, then they have got 3 days to respond to our request for service and 7 days to get it fixed. And all that's built into the RFP. So
Would you have extra?
I'm sorry?
Would you have a few extra on hand?
We would have a few
Swap
extra.
out.
Yeah, we
Swap
could do that too. We could swap them out, yeah.
And you have a charging station, that's going to be the other issue is now
Yes.
you're going to have to charge them and.
That's exactly right. And I don't know exactly how we're going to do that. Some jails have the charging station in the cell, and I can see where that could cause some problems. Some of them have it out of the cell. If you have it out of the cell, staff have to go every morning, get the tablets, and check them out to the inmates, and then at the end of the day, they have to go and check them in. Whereas if they're in the cell, which again, a lot of jails have it that way too, they just put it in, and we can lock them in there and shut them down for, we shut the TVs off at midnight, and so we could shut them off at the same time and turn them back on in the mornings. I don't think service is going to be a problem, though.
Okay.
On the
Rob.
tablets, I want to add on what David's saying. Is there a way to maybe make them do some training of some sort before they get to access the movies or shows or whatever?
For the inmates?
Yeah, that way, when a lot of these guys are coming out, I mean, in my business, we see it a lot. A lot of these guys apply for jobs, but they don't know what they're doing. If they could get a little bit of training while they're in there, it would help them when they come out.
Yes, so one of the big pluses to this, entertainment's in there, but also educational materials. So training materials for vocational training or educational training is in there. And what I put into this contract that is not in all the contracts is that the programs that they're offered in the jail, the company that we go with has to offer that to them up to a year after they get out. So if they start some type of training in the jail or start some type of educational program in the jail, they can continue that after they're released, at least for 12 months, give them the opportunity to complete that training and help them get a job or be successful. Rick?
Do you have an expectation on how many vendors there might be?
Yeah, I would guess probably 4 or 5. There are some Kentucky vendors, and everything I've heard about the Kentucky vendors are fine. There's some national vendors, and so I anticipate we'll get both putting in on this. I think probably 4 or 5 of them.
Darren, do you want me to run the advertisement?
Yes, that would be great, Stacy. Thank you.
So, any other questions? And Jello Royals, I do appreciate, I think this RFP and the options that might come with it will, could really benefit the whole population and the jail, staff and inmates. So, I appreciate the effort to try to navigate this RFP. Any other questions, and would there be a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept this RFP.
I'll say.
So we have a motion and we have a second to advertise the RFP. And any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Jello Royals, thank you.
Thank you,
Stacy will
Judge.
get that. Stacy will get that up and going.
Thank you.
Next,
Thank you.
Next one would be Resolution 2602, Sheriff's Office Grant. And this is an LEEP, Law Enforcement Protection Program grant out of the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security. And this is actually to help purchase 10 short barrel rifles and I think ammunition. Is Sheriff Nettles or Deputy Benson available?
Yes, sir. I'm here with Sergeant Talbot. He's the firearms instructor who's prepared this grant. I'm going to let him speak on it.
Sergeant Talbot, thank you. And Dr. Benson, I'm glad you're here too. I didn't know that we had an adjunct professor in the Sheriff's office as well.
Not a doctor yet, going through the school, but I am adjunct professor. Thank you.
Yeah.
So like the judge said, we're trying to apply for a grant through the Law Enforcement Protection Program for 10 short barrel rifles. The cost for the rifles is $19,950, and then ammunition to go along with the rifles, which is $2,045. The total grant amount would be $21,995.
That's a little bit different from the
that's not the
black.
I gave Stacy an updated copy. Sergeant Talbot reviewed the grant requirements, and you could only ask for a certain amount of ammunition associated with the amount of firearms you're asking for, so we had to adjust that number.
Any questions?
Is there any input on our part financially or
No, with the LFPP grant, it's great because it would cover 100% of the cost.
motion?
Motion second. Any other
You want me to read
questions?
it, Joe Pat, or summarize it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we better read it.
All right, Scott County Fiscal Court Resolution 2602, resolution of the Scott County Fiscal Court, Scott County authorizing the judge executive to apply for Law Enforcement Protection Program or LEP funds administered through the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security or KOHS, and upon arrival to enter into an agreement with KOHS to execute any documents which are deemed necessary by KOHS to facilitate and administer the project and to act as the authorized correspondent for this project. Whereas the LEP to provide grants for body armor, firearms, ammunition, electronic control devices, electronic control weapons, electromuscular disruption technology, and body-worn cameras to city, county, charter county, unified local government, urban county, and consolidated local government, police departments, university safety and security departments organized pursuant to KRS 164-950. Whereas Scott County desires to apply for LEP funds in the amount of $19,950 to be used to purchase 10 short barrel rifles in the amount of $2,045 in ammunition, whereas it is recognized that an application for an approval of LEP funds imposes certain obligations and responsibilities upon the county Now therefore be it resolved this day of, it's the 13th day of March 2026 by the Scott County Fiscal Court. The judge executive is hereby authorized to execute and furnish all required documentation, including a memorandum of agreement as may be required by KOHS for the furtherance of the above referenced project, and to act as the authorized correspondent for said project.
Any other questions?
I had one question, Judge. I'm just curious, what's electromuscular disruption technology?
So I think it could be tasers, or our court deputies have devices for when trials are going on that can affect somebody without it appearing that they are in custody.
We have that. What is that?
It's a little, like, leg device.
So you can like shock me.
Well, not you, hopefully.
Oh, I got you. So
I have a question. This is a little bit off topic, same thing. We applied for this grant last year for pistols and some sights or something. I can't remember. What happened to that one? Did we
We've
get that?
received that grant, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's actually, Sergeant Talbot's in the process of preparing to train everybody on those newer pistols.
Gotcha.
Very good. So we had a motion
Yeah, it
and we
takes
had
a
a
while
second.
after you apply.
Any other questions? So we did have a motion, we did have a second. So all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all for your efforts on putting that together.
Thank you.
That leads us down to Resolution 2603. And, we had work session discussion in depth about this, and there's, I really think being proactive to create a time period by adopting this moratorium would give us the time to put on paper a proper and appropriate ordinance that would guide the siting of a data center. And I shared during the work session, just that, I have a lot of concerns, and I'm sure you all do as well, after reading about efforts in different neighboring counties across the state and across the nation. And I think it's just wise to be able to take some time and address those concerns. The siting, my concern is the possibility siting of it in areas of prime farmland, and then the environmental impacts that come with it, as well as goes from how it impacts your electrical grid, the water intake and usage issues, and then also the nuisance. There's a lot of concern about noise and nuisance that comes with that as well. So I would appreciate and value any feedback from any magistrate before I ask Cam to read the actual resolution. If no feedback or such, then I'll ask Cam to read the resolution or summary if he's prepared a summary.
Yeah, I can summarize it. Scott County Fiscal Court Resolution 2603, a resolution related to the creation of a moratorium on the Georgetown Scott County Planning Commission's acceptance and review of applications for the establishment of data centers. And as the summary, the whereas portions reflect the discussion that we've just had, the statutory authorization, the concern about prime farmland and soils of statewide importance, and the need for consideration of regulations of data centers, which are complex. And so now therefore be it resolved by the Scott County Fiscal Court as follows, that there is established a 6-month moratorium on the Georgetown Scott County Planning Commission's acceptance, processing, and approval of the applications for the establishment of data centers. The moratorium shall take effect immediately upon adoption of this resolution and shall automatically expire 6 months thereafter unless terminated earlier by action of the Scott County Fiscal Court. This moratorium shall apply to all zoning approvals, development plan approvals, conditional use permits, building permits, and other authorizations related to the establishment of data centers. During this moratorium, the Georgetown Scott County Planning Commission shall not accept for review any application for the establishment of a data center, shall research the land use regulation issues related to the affected business uses, conduct a public hearing on the land use regulation issues related to the affected business uses, draft all appropriate regulations necessary for the protection of the citizens of Scott County and the prospective operators of data centers, including focusing on conservation, preservation, and enhancement of natural resources, including soils, water, air, vegetation, and wildlife. Recommend appropriate regulations, if any, for adoption by the Scott County Fiscal Court. Provide periodic updates to the Scott County Fiscal Court regarding the progress of research, hearings, and draft regulatory proposals. And then there's a definition of data centers and moratorium and public hearing. And if approved, this would be done today, March 13th, 2026.
Questions or comments?
I'll make a motion to accept this draft on this ordinance, but would like to make a comment because there is a lot of speculation since we're talking about data centers that there's actually one thinking about coming here. And as far as we all know, there is no speculation of any data center coming here. We're just trying to get ahead of that curve and have something
Rob,
set.
Yes, and Rob, as I said last week, I have not had any contact from a developer wishing to submit an application. Holden has shared that he has not had any contact from a developer wishing to submit an application. This is just us trying to be proactive and, let's go back to the transfer station siting ordinance. And, there was a potential transfer station that wanted to be sited at one time not too long ago, and we did not have a proper siting ordinance to deal with those type of facilities, and we navigated it, and it worked out very well. But I would rather have the time up front to do this right, and I think we're doing the right thing by giving ourselves this opportunity to navigate, a siting ordinance and take in all the considerations that need to be to get something adopted and before you. So that's a great question. I'm glad you brought it up, and I was going to actually mention, there is no. I've had no contact from a developer with an application, with a potential application to come here, at a spot in Scott County, and neither has Holden. Any other questions?
Second.
All right, so we have a motion and we have a second.
One other question, Judge, or
Yes, sir.
comment. I know when we did the RV park kind of a moratorium, I think we started with 6 months. But I guess we just need to keep an eye on this. This one's only 6 months.
You said September 30th or 13th, I think.
Yeah, so we just need to keep an eye on that because 6 months will come and go pretty quick.
Yeah.
So.
So let me ask you this, Cam, do we want to push it out to 9 months or just leave it 6 months? And
I think that's up to you all. I think it's okay to do that if you'd like
We
to.
decided everything takes a year.
Or you can come back in 6 months and extend it if needed. That's what we did last time.
Yeah, I think Holden made a comment.
You probably want to do it for as little time as you have to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we can
Let's
always
leave it
extend it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's leave it at 6. We've had a motion, we've had a second. Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all. Chris Runyon, Chris, can you come to the podium? And we have 3 EMS items that need to be addressed, and I'll ask Chris to help walk through those as well. Good morning.
Good morning, Judge, Magistrates. The first is an agreement that we're requesting to be able to enter into with the cleaning company to come out and clean our new facility. It was a very reasonable quote. It's less than half of the next closest quote we got. Had good references, so if you guys have any questions about anything on that.
So is there a reason, like, you went with a company versus, I know how it's kind of hodgepodge throughout the county.
Right.
We have some janitorial staff, and sometimes we have part-time people.
Right, so we had, in last year's budgeted to go with the company, and we tried a couple out and just haven't had any satisfaction with any of them, so we just kind of were doing it for ourselves, but we wanted to try this company. We got some good recommendations from them.
Motion. Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Chris, on that. And then this next one is a billing agreement addendum. And I shared an email that Chris had shared, and I'll let Chris kind of walk you through that.
Yeah, so the next two items are basically tied together, and we have a compliance company that we've had way before I've been there, then a billing company. Traditionally, we paid the billing company then paid the compliance service out of the fees. They upcharged us to cover the compliance services. This is basically a restructuring of the compliance company's request. They want to separate from the billing company, in part due to kind of issues we had with our previous billing company. When we broke ties with them, then we no longer had an agreement, with our compliance company because they were underneath that umbrella of the billing. So they're doing this with all their clients across the board. They want to separate it out. So the billing company decreases the percent of total revenue that they request from us, and the compliance company has changed or asked for us for 1%. So it comes out to like a $460 annual difference for us. But in part of that, with compliance, we're getting additional services that are more valuable than $460 a year. So, does that clear?
Comments or questions?
Make sense?
No, I appreciate how you laid it out and compared it year over year, but that net of about $460 is the bottom line, and would value any input or question from any court member.
Judge, I'll make the motion, but also I had an opportunity to talk with Chief Runyon about it, and what I like about it is it puts both parties directly to us.
Correct.
The communication and the financial part of it.
Yeah, it's a lot cleaner.
One's not tied to the other to get to us. So it puts us, I think, in a better spot too.
Agreed.
So, Rick, I appreciate that comment as well. I'll ask Cam and Stacy, do we need to approve these together or separately?
They're totally separate.
Yes, separate.
Yeah, so Rick, would you make your motion to approve the Specimen billing?
Yes.
All right, would there be a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And then the second part would be the billing services agreement with the compliance. It's called medical compliance services. Would there be a motion for that? Motion. Second. Thank you, Mr. Livingston. Mr. Corman. Any other comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all. Appreciate it, Chris.
Judge, before Chris steps down,
Yeah.
so Chris, can you make sure that they give you a certificate of insurance naming the county as an additional insured on the maintenance agreement? Because it's not in the contract requiring any kind of notification of coverage or anything.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Hey, David, thanks for that pickup and appreciate that as well. Moving forward then, number 18, as you probably get tired of hearing me say this, but I truly believe you all feel exactly as I do, that we exist to provide services to our community. And I think we do a great job, and I think our people, our departments do a great job providing those services. But the cost for those services will never be less than they are today. And us working locally and regionally on economic development is critical, and adding jobs to our region is critical. So that circles back to our partnership with our regional Central Kentucky Business Park Authority. And I shared a request from the Central Kentucky Business Park Authority for a letter of support related to the KPDI grant process. And that regional partnership at the Berea site has been recommended for $4.1 million in KPDI grant funds. And this letter would go to support that. And I shared that email because I wanted you all to see the whole picture. And let me say this is draft. It's only draft because, you know, there's a lot of moving parts, and we've made requests for direct allocation from the state legislature, and then we've also received funds from Congressman Barr's office for $2 million. But you know, all of those things, they move slow, and until probably the first week of April, we won't know about the state legislature request. So this is a draft budget that I shared with you all, but this match is pretty close, and that, you know, our match share on this would be about $266,000. But you know, that total draft budget that I shared is still kind of a work in progress. But I wanted y'all to have a big picture of what was going on, and I also shared a letter that was sent to Senator Carpenter, just outlining the efforts of the Central Kentucky Business Park Authority that kind of gave you a picture as well. So any questions about approving the letter of support? Would there be a motion?
Motion for approval, Judge.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And then that will appreciate that very much. The settlement agreement, opioid litigation update. Pam, I have what I was going to share, because I think there is some confidentiality, but we are essentially approving, authorizing me to enter into this additional settlement agreement for the remnant defendants. Is that correct?
That's correct. So we just need court authorization for you to go ahead and sign the participation forms and so forth.
Any questions on that? Would there be a motion? Motion.
Second.
Second. Any other questions?
Cam, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say I meant to send you an email, but he summarized it fine. So.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you all very much. Any opposed? Motion passes. And that leads us down to new business. The first item of new business, and the only item that I have and Jeff has for new business, I'm going to ask Jeff Mudrack to step up. We shared this earlier in the week related to a drug-free workplace policy, and I'll ask Jeff to walk you through the proposal.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, as I indicated in the email I sent you, we did not revise the drug-free workplace policy when we made the major edits to the policy back in November of 22. We knew it was a more complicated policy, and it was 8 pages long, and so we knew it was serving us well, so we just left it alone for now. But now that the Sheriff's Office is doing random drug screens, and then there's some interest in having other departments like the Fire Department and EMS also do drug screens, we felt it was important to get that policy fixed so it was consistent with our departmental policies. So I worked with Cam, with John, and with Chris to create a draft of a new policy, and I think that you'll find that the wording is easier to follow, and then it addresses also the fact that we're doing, at least we plan to start doing random drug screening in fire and EMS as well. We spent about 3 months working on this. And I guess one thing I want to point out is that, the Drug-Free Workplace Act does not require that you do any form of drug testing. And I indicated in the email I sent you, the core requirements of a drug-free workplace policy is that you prepare and distribute a formal drug-free workplace policy statement, you establish a drug-free awareness program, ensure that all employees working on federal contract or under a federal grant understand their personal reporting obligations, and that is if there's a conviction, they have to report that within 5 days. And then if that does occur, then we have to notify those contracting agencies within 10 days of that occurrence. And that we take direct action against an employee convicted of a workplace drug violation. And then 6, this is where most of our policy falls, is maintain an ongoing good faith effort to meet all requirements of the Drug-Free Workplace Act throughout the life of the contract. So, I don't know if you're ready to make a decision as to whether or not you want to adopt this policy or if you want to just have more questions. This might have been more of a workshop type discussion, so I don't want anybody to feel like there has to be a decision rendered today. But I just wanted to see, what questions you had about the policy or concerns that you might have going forward.
Okay, so I'll ask the question. If we have a potential employee that is been charged with some drug-related crime, but they haven't been convicted, so this is going to address some of that, whether, I know we talk about future employment, whether when we're going through the process of actually finding people, but this is more the pre-employment testing. So what is the policy as far as something like that going forward?
I mean, as far as there's an arrest but no conviction?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess one thing you look at is that person in a safety-sensitive role. And then I think what you have to look at is the legal risk that you face if you let them continue to work. So
there is, because they are eligible then if there's not a conviction, only if there has been a charge and they haven't been convicted, they can accept employment.
Right, because this, well, I mean, I see what your point is. Yeah, when I do a record check, if they've been arrested and there's no conviction, it's not going to show up on a record check anywhere, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I'm just.
It might show as a pending charge, not as a conviction.
Yeah, but when I think with a firm that you're using, I don't know that it's going to, because there's not going to be any disposition on the case, so it's not going to show up. I don't know that it's going to show up.
Yeah, I just want to know what the. Yeah, I just want to know what the county's position is going to be as far as dealing with that going forward, and it sounds like we'll continue to do what we have been doing in the past.
Right.
Okay.
Dr. Wallace, thank you for that question. That's something we have to think about, and I agree. I appreciate it. Any other questions, and what would be the pleasure of the court?
I have a question. I just want to know Jeff's thoughts on, so we just do random after pre-employment on police, fire, EMS, but I mean, like I come from an industry where we random drug test everybody. Like, you have non-CDL people working on fire trucks, working on ambulances that are going to put people on the road, right? We have people on lawnmowers. We have people on big equipment that don't have CDL licenses. Like, why are we only testing those 3 people? Like in my industry, like we test maintenance because they're working on helicopters, right? I mean, you don't want to get a helicopter that some maintenance person is, I mean, who knows? I mean, you don't want to assume anybody's doing anything. I want to know your thoughts. I mean, I'm not saying we have to. I just want to see what your thoughts are.
Well, I think that in talking with, I'll speak for some of the conversations I've had with Judge Covington, we were looking at slowly working this into the organization. I mean, I heard from the court that there was an interest in expanding this beyond the sheriff's office, so that's what we're trying to do. And yeah, I think if you want to, it's probably a natural movement. If you want to move into also having the mechanics and the non-CDL drivers be part of this program, then that's perfectly fine with me.
But Ryan, just to echo what Jeff said, we were just, it's kind of like a phased approach, and this was the logical next step, and then we could do this for so many months and then bring back to the court. Does the court want to continue and expand the the testing body, so to speak. So, very good question, and the thought process is just doing it in a phased approach.
So I've got two questions. One goes back to employee rights and all that, and is there any legal issue? You know, I know CDLs, you're required to have so much testing.
Right.
But since this is just a policy, not like a regulation or anything like that, is there any issue with only doing part of the staff?
Not that I'm aware of. I
If
think
we're
that
expanding the policy.
I think when you're looking at people working in safety-sensitive roles,
Okay.
I think we have a responsibility to make sure people are fit for duty, or creating an environment where it's more likely that people are fit for duty.
The other question is, does this apply to elected officials? Because we have a fire chief who is running the fire department, but we have a sheriff that's running the sheriff's department and a clerk who's running the clerk's office. If you're going to be testing JR, who's running an office, who's not elected, are the ones who run these other offices that are elected are subject to, or, I mean.
I think Josh is still here, yes. I think Josh, I know without a doubt that Jeremy has included himself in the testing pool, correct? Because he's being in a safety-sensitive role, yes.
That didn't answer my question.
Well, I know it doesn't answer your question. Well, I guess my question for the court would be is,
what's the legality of being able to do that? Because when they drive during the workday, if they're driving from one location to the other, they're on the county's dime if there is an accident.
well, and let me answer that
I'm just
question.
gonna say leadership one-on-one, if your agency or your department's getting tested and you're not getting tested as the leader, then that's gonna look bad on you to start with. And I don't know why you wouldn't participate.
I think what David's question also goes back to my bigger question of, I think it should be more expanded, right? Just because you're not in one of these safety sensitive doesn't mean that you're not doing things that aren't just driving from one side of the county to the other, working on these, big pieces of equipment that people do drive.
Well, and I would think, if you read the section on post-accident screening,
Right.
that does apply to all employees.
But are elected officials considered employees?
My take on that, David, I think you're raising this a really good point, and I think Dwayne's point is right, that as a leader you would participate, but probably the bottom line is they're constitutional officers and they're elected, and if they don't do it, then the consequence is the voters could vote them out. But I don't know, if push came to shove, if you force them to do it, probably not.
So then my question is, so like you're talking about post-accident testing, if an elected official is in an accident on county business and is found to be under the influence of anything, what are our repercussions towards that person?
Well,
Outside of it, I'm not talking about employees, because I know what the repercussions are for employees. But if they're in a county vehicle, even if they're in their own vehicle, they still have coverage from CAECO under their own vehicle when they're on county business.
I'll defer to Cam on that question.
well, no, I mean, I would have to chew on that one, and then maybe probably that's a conversation I'd probably need to get Rich Ornstein involved.
I mean, can we,
My guess is something like that's happened before.
it's happened before, definitely. I mean, there's an elected official that's committed murder and still held his position for several years while his case went through and he was in jail. So can the motor vehicle post-accident testing even apply to elected officials? I'm just curious, because I don't think that elected officials should be held to a lower standard than our own employees.
I appreciate that.
No, and let's have Cam and myself, and you're welcome to as well, David.
For the record, I'll agree to be tested.
Yeah, me too. I do have a question. I do have a question about your motor vehicle post-accident testing. It says when 2 or more vehicles. So, like, if somebody goes off road and destroys a county vehicle, just a single vehicle accident, like, why would we not test that person?
Well, we struggled with that section, honestly. We were trying to avoid issues where it was hitting a deer would be an example.
I mean, perfect. I hit a deer in my company vehicle on my way home from St. Louis, and I had to go through testing. No, destroyed the front end of a van. I'd had this work vehicle. I'd had this work vehicle 4 hours. Hit it in New Albany, Indiana, on 64, and I had to be tested. Right? Like I don't like if we're under the KCO insurance, right? I mean, I don't know that hitting a deer destroying. If we have to have a major insurance claim.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
well, and then we also tried to set a standard, like a dollar limit of, well, if the accident causes more than $500 in damage, well, I mean, a scratch on the paint is $500. So it's almost, but we didn't want to have to.
No, I'm with you. I just think the two vehicle thing's a little crazy because, like, you could take a vehicle off road and destroy it in a single vehicle accident.
I know, but we were trying to also limit the amount of time that vehicles and people were out of service at the same time too, and making sure that we kept the staff. You can understand the dilemma that we were dealing with is how do you be responsible and hold your people to a high standard, but then also make sure we have the staff on shift to do the job. So that was what we were trying to do by wording it the way we did.
So with that said, I hear, like the question of the phased approach discussion, and then I also hear about the elected officials being part of the essentially pool for testing and such. And I would like to follow up with Cam and Rich Ornstein on that, and I'll support like Jeremy already putting himself in the pool for what we proposed, but I'd put myself in the pool just because that's the right thing to do, kind of along the lines of what Dwayne said. But let's try to get some answers to those questions, and then we will circle back at our next meeting and discuss this more. Is that fair with everybody?
Yeah, sir. One other quick question, Judge, and kind of a little bit of a different angle. And I've tried to read through, and I probably missed it. Maybe it's there. I'm just wondering about an employee in any department who may have a drug problem or an alcohol problem or something. Is there a way for them to come to their supervisor or whatever and say, hey, I'm struggling here? And it could be somebody that's had an accident or had surgery, and then, stuff happens. They get hooked on pain medication and they struggle and they want their job. Yeah, I don't know. Is there any kind of avenue in our policy? I know.
Are you talking about before they got caught in an issue?
Yes.
Before we drug tested them?
Yes. Well, because I'm aware of some larger companies that do that for their employees and allow them to come and say, hey, I'm struggling here. And I don't know if we do that or even if we want to.
We do, and that's why there's a section here about the employee assistance program.
Well, I must have missed it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And that's why we have that, and it's why the court approved
okay.
having a relationship.
I guess I overlooked that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So, I appreciate that. Those are all good questions. And Ryan, the one vehicle item, I think we definitely need to address as well, because we don't want to leave a loophole if somebody is under the influence and does have an accident. So we'll definitely address that as well. But I appreciate Jeff is always working to try to present items to you all that would improve our policies, and I appreciate that as well. Is there any other new business from any magistrate or department leader, or will there be any request for public comment?
Got a little bit of a praise here, Judge. We had another major fire in Stamping Ground this past week, and the county showed up, Georgetown showed up. There was actually 2 volunteers at the station in Stamping Ground that got there pretty quick. So all of them together, they worked to knock this fire down, but it was a total loss again on another property in Stamping Ground. That's a couple last few months, but just a good shout out to them for getting there and fighting this fire. So really appreciate those guys. And the push in for the fire truck went really well the other day too, last Friday. So
Fantastic. Appreciate those comments, and I know our staff's working hard all the time, and appreciate what they do. Any other comments?
Judge, just one thing. I think we all got an email that the shooting range out at Veterans Memorial is going to have a grand opening, I think, next Tuesday at 2 o'clock.
Yes, and I appreciate that reminder, Dr. Wallace. I cannot be at that because I'm part of the Kentucky Horse Park Board, and there's a board meeting at that same time. So if any of you magistrates plan to go, please let me know, and then I'll let Kevin Rexroth know that you're coming. That piece of property and that new asset that that they've built is really nice. And then they also have an administrative building that's going to be an educational component and right there as well. So I mean that facility is top notch. Looking forward to seeing it in action. Anything else? All right, would there be a motion for Kentucky to beat Florida?
Motion.
Is there a second? I'll second it.
Or at least cover the spread.
At least cover David needs to cover the spread.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Kelly?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. Be safe. Have a good weekend.